Hello friends and welcome to Pendulum Edu. Today we'll be discussing daily current affairs of 17 July 2020. So guys, quickly join this session and also ask your friends to join this session. We are about to start, and those who have not subscribed to our channel Pendulum Edu, please subscribe it and do not forget to press the bell icon to receive notification. Now let's start. Let's see what is the first news. Indo-Italy Business Mission Digital Conference on Food Processing was recently organized, and this digital conference on food processing, this was attended by our Food Processing Industries Minister Harsimrat Kaur Badal, and she addressed the inaugural session of this digital conference, and this is the first joint digital trade mission of India and Italy. This initiative, it is a part of a process aimed at establishing a long-term strategic partnership between Italy and India in the food sector. The two-day event, it will host digital conferences, trade fairs and other meetings. And this event, it will involve governments of India and Italy, stakeholders in the food technology industry, leading industries, trade associations and other key institutions including ambassadors. The Italian technologies in the areas of fruit and vegetable processing, milk and dairy product processing, grain processing, packaging and bottling, etc. will be demonstrated during the event. So this is the event which is organized between India and Italy. And talking about Italy, you can see first the location of Italy in the map. This is the location of Italy. Its capital is Rome and the president is Sergio Mattarella. The prime minister of Italy is Giuseppe Conte, and the currency over here is Euro, and it is a European country, and here it is Mediterranean Sea. So it mainly share its border with the Mediterranean Sea. It makes major coastline. It shares most of its coastline boundary with the Mediterranean Sea. Now let's see a question related to the news. Which of the following statements is true? Recently, the Indo-Italy Business Mission's digital conference on food processing was organized. Second statement is, it is the first joint digital business mission of India and Italy. So one only, two only, both one and two, and none of the above. So quickly comment what will be the correct answer for this. Which statement is true? The correct answer is option C, that is both 1 and 2. Both statements are true. Now let's see the next news. 15th summit between India and European Union, it recently concluded in virtual format, and in this meeting India was represented by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, while the European Union, it was represented by the President of European Union, which is Charles Michel, and the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen. So what is this European Union? It is a political and economic union of European countries. Economic union of European countries, and the members presently are 27 members are there in European Union. Initially there were 28 members, but now after Brexit, after the exit of Britain from European Union, now there are 27 members. And its headquarters, quickly comment where the headquarters of European Union located. These are located in Brussels, Belgium. Okay. Now the two sides, they held talks on the following topics while attending the 15th summit between India and EU. First was strengthening international security. Second, strengthen preparedness and response to the global health emergencies, especially after this condition of COVID-19 pandemic. Such type of zoonotic disease, these can occur in future as well. So strengthening the preparedness and response to all those global health emergencies. Third is enhancing global economic stability and inclusive growth, because growth has been impacted and there is a need to establish stability in the global economy. Implement sustainable development goals. So these SDGs, these are to be achieved by 2030. So quick implementation of these SDGs is important. So this was also discussed during the meet. And to promote their cooperation in international forums to protect the climate and environment. So at the different international forums which are there. So there to promote the cooperation between the two countries, between the two groups, you can see India and EU. So where the cooperation is required to protect the climate and environment. So this was also discussed during the summit. India and the European Union, they agreed to keep the global trade system open with the World Trade Organization as the basis for the rules-based multilateral trade system. So basically there should be the open global trade system. So basically there is a need to make the global trade system open. Every country should have the chance, and there should not be restriction in a particular country for promoting trade. And there should also be rule-based multilateral trade system. There should not be bilateral trade system or unilateral trade system, but there is a need to establish rule-based multilateral trade system with the World Trade Organization at its center or at its base. European Investment Bank's ongoing activity in India and the upcoming planned investment of euros 550 million in the Pune and Bhopal metro rail projects, it was also welcome. So European Investment Bank, it planned to invest euros of 550 million in Pune and Bhopal metro rail project, and this plan was welcomed during the summit. Also, the leaders of both sides, they have adopted the India-EU strategic partnership, a roadmap to 2025 for the next 5 years. So as to promote the strategic partnership between India and EU, a roadmap was adopted for the next 5 years. Also, India-Euratom agreement was signed on the peaceful use of nuclear energy. So as to increase the cooperation in the development of nuclear energy, but for the peaceful purposes, the agreement was signed between India and EU, which is India-Euratom agreement. So a question can be asked that India-Euratom agreement, it is related to which field? So it is related to nuclear energy. The subsequent renewal of India-EU Science and Technology Agreement for the next 5 years was also welcome. So the India-EU Science and Technology Agreement, so it has to be renewed for the next 5 years. So this step was also welcome, and now this the time or the tenure for this agreement or renewal of this agreement has been finally agreed, and now it will be applicable for the next 5 years. Now let's see a question related to the news. Which bank is going to invest in Pune and Bhopal metro rail project? Asian Development Bank, World Bank, European Investment Bank and New Development Bank. Quickly comment the correct answer. The correct answer for this is option C, that is European Investment Bank. Moving to the next news. CoroSure, the most affordable COVID-19 test kit, was launched. Recently, our HRD Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank and Minister of State Sanjay Dhotri have launched the most affordable COVID-19 test kit, which is named CoroSure. It is designed by IIT Delhi. This kit is RT-PCR based, and New Tech Medical Devices has manufactured this kit, and it will be available in hospitals and all testing centers. So the requirement of corona testing kits, or you can say COVID-19 testing kits, it will be now fulfilled through this new development, which is the most affordable COVID-19 test kit, and it has been designed by IIT Delhi and it is manufactured by New Tech Medical Devices. Now let's see a question related to the news. Which organization or institution has designed the most affordable COVID-19 test kit CoroSure? IIT Delhi, IIT Mumbai, IIT Guwahati or IIT Kanpur? Quickly comment the correct answer. Which IIT has designed the most affordable COVID-19 test kit? The correct answer is option A, that is IIT Delhi. Moving to the next news. Britain banned buying 5G equipment from Chinese telecommunications company Huawei. Recently, UK has banned its companies from sourcing 5G equipment from Chinese telecommunication company Huawei, and UK Digital Secretary Oliver Dowden made the announcement following a meeting chaired by UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson. According to the announcement, from the end of this year, telecom providers are prohibited from purchasing any 5G equipment from Huawei. Also in India, CAIT which is a confederation of all India traders. So it has requested Ministry of Electronics and IT to ban these Chinese companies ZTE and the second one is Huawei from bidding for 5G equipments. Any auction related to 5G equipments or 5G technology related any auction will be there. So these two companies shall be banned. It has been requested by CAIT from Ministry of Electronics and IT. The new guidelines require British telecom operators to remove all 5G related equipment supplied by the Chinese telecommunications company by 2027. Also, US has banned Huawei and ZTE, citing them as national security threats. So we have seen that one by one all the Chinese companies, these specifically two companies, they have been banned by different countries, and also the Chinese apps which were there like TikTok and Hello, or there were many different apps, so these were also banned in many countries. United Kingdom, if we talk about UK, then it is an island nation in northwestern Europe. It is made up of England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. You can see the yellow part: Northern Ireland, Scotland, England and Wales. These four comprise these four form the United Kingdom, and the Prime Minister of UK is Boris Johnson. The capital is London and the currency is pound sterling. Now let's see the question related to the news. Britain bans purchase of 5G equipment from telecommunications company Huawei. This company is from which country? Quickly comment. It is very easy question. Germany, Russia, Brazil or China? The correct answer is option D, that is China. Guys, keep commenting the correct answer, hit the like button and keep following daily current affairs. Moving to the next news. 16 July World Snake Day is observed every year. It is the day to raise awareness about various species of snakes worldwide. There are more than 35,000 species of snakes worldwide, of which only 600 are venomous. On 330 of these 600 species, these are alone found in India. The most commonly found dangerous are the snake crate, the Russell viper, the owl-scaled viper and the Indian spectacled cobra. So these are some of the dangerous snake. And moving to the question part, on which day is World Snake Day celebrated every year? 16 June, 16 July, 16 August and 16 September. Quickly comment the correct answer. When is World Snake Day celebrated? Quickly comment the correct answer. When is World Snake Day celebrated? The correct answer is option B, that is 16th July. Moving to the next news. DCGI approved the first indigenously developed pneumococcal polysaccharide conjugate vaccine. Recently, the Drug Controller General of India, it has approved the first indigenously developed pneumococcal polysaccharide conjugate vaccine. And who has developed this vaccine? The Serum Institute of India, which is located in Pune, it has developed this vaccine. So a question can be asked that where is Serum Institute of India is located. This institute is very famous. It has been in news recently due to COVID-19. So it is located in Pune, and this vaccine, this the first indigenously developed pneumococcal polysaccharide conjugate vaccine has been developed by this institute. The institute was allowed first, second and third stage trials of vaccine which are now completed, and the company has also conducted tests in the Gambia. This vaccine is used for the treatment of invasive diseases and pneumonia caused by Streptococcus pneumonia in infants. So this will be a major achievement for India, and the infants which are suffering from pneumonia, or that the pneumonia which mainly affects infants, which is caused by Streptococcus pneumonia. So for the treatment for that, this vaccine will be very effective. It is the first vaccine developed indigenously for the treatment of pneumonia. Earlier, such vaccines they were imported into the country. So before this, we used to import vaccine related to pneumonia to India, and now there will be no need to import such vaccine, and it will be affordable too because it is indigenously developed, and it is a good step towards making it a self-reliant or Atmanirbhar. Now let's see a question related to the news. Which of the following statements is true? So you have to tell which statement is true. Recently, the Drug Controller General of India has approved the first indigenously developed pneumococcal polysaccharide conjugate vaccine. Second statement is the vaccine is developed by the Serum Institute of India, Pune. So you have to tell which statement is true. One only, two only, both one and two, and none of the above. So what will be the correct answer for this? Option C will be the correct answer. Moving to the next news. Coir and coir products from India recorded an all-time record exports in the year 2019-20. Rupees 2,758 crore of coir and coir products have been exported from India in 2019-20, and this is about 30 crores more than the year 2018-19. 9,88,000 metric tons of coir and related products were exported from the country during the year 2019-20, while during the previous year more than 9,64,000 metric tons were exported. You can see the coir, it is also known as coconut fiber, and exports of coir pith, tufted mats, coir geotextile carpets, coir rope and power loom mats have shown growth both in terms of quantity and value. So this coir or coconut fiber, it is used for making door mats, carpets, and ropes, also tufted mats, etc. So it is very useful. Usually in our at our homes we usually throw such type of stuffs, but this is very important because it is used in making many products like it can be used in geotextile carpets, ropes, mats, power loom mats. About 99% of the exports of coir and coir products are done through the Tuticorin, Cochin and Chennai ports. Other major ports of export of coir and coir products are Visakhapatnam, Mumbai and Kolkata. Now let's see a question related to the news. Coir and coir products are exported from which port of India? Tuticorin, Cochin, Chennai and all of the above. So what will be the correct answer for this? Quickly comment. The correct answer is option D, that is all of the above. If you have any doubt, please mention that in comment box related to any news. Moving to the next news, launch of Amal, the Mars orbiter of the United Arab Emirates, was deferred once again. So the launch of Amal, the Mars orbiter of UAE, has been now postponed once again. It has been cancelled, and this orbiter launch has been postponed due to inclement weather. The orbiter is named Amal, which means hope, is the first interplanetary mission in the Arab world. And the UAE mission, it will be launched whenever this Hope Mars mission will be launched. It will be launched from Tanegashima Space Center, which is located in southern Japan. The US and China are also planning 2 other Mars missions in the coming days, and India's mission to Mars is Mangalyaan, and the other name for this is Mars Orbiter Mission or MOM. Japan is also planning to launch a moon mission to Mars in 2024. Talking about UAE, it is a country in Western Asia at the northeast end of the Arabian Peninsula on the Persian Gulf. You can see the location of United Arab Emirates. Its capital is Abu Dhabi, and it is surrounded from one side through Persian Gulf, and it shares its border with the Saudi Arabia and Oman. These are the 2 major countries bordering UAE, and the currency is United Arab Emirates dirham, and the current president of UAE is Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan. Now let's see a question related to the news. Amal is the Mars orbiter of which of the following country? UAE, Iran, Kuwait and Qatar. Quickly comment the correct answer. Amal is the Mars orbiter of which country? The correct answer is option A, that is UAE. Moving to the next news. Tunisia Prime Minister Elis Fakhfakh submitted his resignation to President Kais Saied. So Mr. Elis Fakhfakh was sworn in as a Prime Minister only 5 months ago, and in such a situation there is now a political crisis after the Prime Minister Elis Fakhfakh submitted his resignation to the President Kais Saied, and also the country will face the economic crisis along with the political crisis. Talking about Tunisia, it is a country in the Maghreb region of North Africa. Its capital is Tunis and the currency is Tunisian dinar. Now let's see a question related to the news. Recently, Elis Fakhfakh has resigned as the Prime Minister of which country? Tunisia, Cuba, Bahrain and Israel. Quickly comment the correct answer. What will be the correct answer for this? The correct answer will be option A, that is Tunisia. So guys, tell me, how is the speed? Is it the lecture is going too fast or is it going too slow? Please mention that so that I will be able to match up to your speed. Moving to the next news. According to the Lancet study, India's population may be at the peak by 2047. So according to a study in the Lancet, by 2047, India's population may be at its peak. The study states that the peak population forecast for both China and India will be 2050 before and thereafter marks the population decline of both countries. So basically, according to the study, India and China, both these countries their population will reach at its peak before 2050. And between 2010 and 2019, India's population grew at an average annual rate of 1.2%. At the current rate of growth, India's population is expected to rise to around 161 billion by 2047 and thereafter decrease to 1.03 billion by 2100. However, if India fulfills the development goals of United Nations, that is Sustainable Development Goals, this peak will be earlier and then there will be a decline in population and to 929 million by the end of this century. So according to the study, India's population will reach its peak and then it will start declining to 1.03 billion by 2100. The world's population is expected to reach 9.73 billion by 2061 and 8.79 billion by 2100. In 2100, the 5 most populous countries will be India, Nigeria, China, America and Pakistan. So this is the study that the population, it will reach its peak before 2050 in India by 2047. So let's see how long this prediction will go, and also there is a need to control population because more population will lead to some population issues like there will be urbanization issues, employment issues. So many issues related to population will be faced by the people. Therefore, every country, not only India, their population should be controlled. So let's see a question related to the news. According to a recent Lancet study, by which year can India's population be at its peak? 2030, 2045, 2047 and 2050. Quickly comment the correct answer. The correct answer will be option C, that is 2047. So friends, here we have covered daily current affairs and related questions. I hope you like this session. Please like the video, share it as much as you can, and if you have any doubt, please mention that in comment box and keep following daily current affairs. You can also join us on our Telegram channel. You can read these current affairs in detail from our website penlamedu.com, and also these current affairs are available in Hindi as well. You can also refer to that. We'll meet you again. Thank you so much.